The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today from the Kingdome, it's the Houston Oilers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. And by Murata fax machines, built for the most important business in the world, yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cephalo, and welcome to the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, where the Houston Oilers have just won the toss, and they will receive, and that means, of course, that the Seattle Seahawks will be kicking off. Houston, a factor in the AFC Central. That division is so strong. First, we'll go to the West. Seattle, Denver, and the Raiders tied at the top at 5-5. And out of the West, you'll probably have only the champion moving into the playoffs. And whoever finishes strongly in the last six, of course, they will be the ones. But Houston is a different story. A game behind Cincinnati, a game ahead of Cleveland. So the champion could well move in. The two wild cards could easily come out of the Central Division. In the fourth quarter, at Kansas City, it is Cincinnati 28, Kansas City 21. Jimmy, surprises at both.
Yeah, it really is a surprise. Cincinnati has been a team that has played so well this season, a surprise to some, but a very strong club. And when you look at this AFC Central division, the old black and blue division of the league, it may be the strongest overall division in football. As you say, Charlie, it would be really a little surprise if three playoff teams don't come from that division.
So Norm Johnson will be kicking off for the Seattle Seahawks. Lorenzo White and Leonard Harris are the two return men. And White takes it at the 2. He's to the 10, 15. And returns to the 19, and there's a flag down. Alonzo Mitz makes the tackle. So right off of the bat, we'll check out the two flags. They were dropped at the 38-yard line. And it will be holding against the Houston Oilers. Dick Hantak is the referee. So not an auspicious start for Houston.
Holding on the return, number 22. We will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
And the call on Kenny Johnson. So set the ball at the 10-yard line. As we look at the offense, the former Husky, University of Washington, Warren Moon, returning to the Seattle area for the first time as a professional. Rozier, Highsmith, Hill, Gibbons, and Jamie Williams, the tight end. And a great offensive line of Davis, Munchak, Tennyson, Matthews, and Steinfeld. And Alonzo Highsmith. And he is stopped by Brian Bosworth, who returns to action. Defensively, Jacob Green, Joe Nash, and Jeff Bryant up front. Schultz, Bosworth has been out 2 weeks with that injured shoulder, had a little surgery on it. Wyman, who was great last week, and Tony Woods. Taylor, Jenkins, Moyer, and Robinson in the secondary, and they're a little thin in the secondary. Gain of 4. It is second down and 6. Highsmith again. And this time he is met by Jeff Bryant.
Highsmith, early on in the season, was complaining just a little bit, saying he wasn't touching the football enough. Well, a couple of weeks ago against the Redskins, he got his chance in the fourth quarter. He had to prove to the coaching staff that he could hang on to the football. Now, if you remember him from the University of Miami, this is one of the best running backs, I think, in football today as an inside runner. Very tough. He's learned to hang on to the ball, and Jerry Glanville has given it to him more often the last couple of weeks.
Third down and 2. Gibbons in motion. And Rozier, first down. And so the Oilers opening with a running attack. Picking up 10 yards on the play. Eugene Robinson making the tackle. and marked the ball at the 29-yard line, so it'll go for 11 and a first down.
And what a backfield this is, Charlie. Rozier and Highsmith, I think, form the best running back combination in football today. There's a look at the top college rushers in football over the past. And that's a look at the Houston backfield. All the great runners they've got on this club. No wonder they can run the football, especially with an offensive line that averages 293 pounds.
And Rozier jumps to the outside and leans to the 31. So he has 2. It'll be second down and 8. Melvin Jenkins.
Charlie, when I mentioned that they are a great running back, or a great running back tandem, part of it is the blocking of Highsmith. Take a look at him. Clearing the way for Rozier down the line, getting a block on the linebacker. That's Tony Woods going down, but a good one. Woods getting back into the play, but Highsmith is one of the best blocking fullbacks in the game today. In fact, Jerry Glanville said that when asked who's the better blocker, John L. Williams, as we take a look, it's not tied up between Cincinnati and Kansas City. Glanville said now the best blocking fullback in football today is right here in Houston.
We'll see 2 very good ones, John L. Williams and Highsmith. Pushing a little first pass is incomplete. And it will be third down and 8. Houston at their own 31-yard line. No score in the ball game. This is the opening drive. And we're going to keep kind of a little blocking check on John L. Williams and Alonzo Highsmith. And right now they are checking out Highsmith on the bench. Rozier, the remaining back, throwing the shotgun. 6 in the secondary. Third and 8. Here comes the blitz. Pass is complete far side, and it should be the first down. Curtis Duncan is the man who caught it. Terry Taylor is the man who stopped him. They needed 8, they got 9. And it's a first down.
And this is the famous red gun formation of the Houston Oilers. Man-to-man coverage on the outside. Good play by Duncan because he's coming straight back to the football and he just gets far enough to get the first down. That's what a good third down receiver has got to do. Make sure he knows where the marker is to get enough yardage.
Duncan has not caught that many passes. That's his 14th on the year. Here's Rozier. And still manages to pick up 3 to the 43. It'll be second down and 7 as Bosworth and Robinson with it. And again, Curtis Duncan comes into the lineup.
Jacob Green, number 79, getting upfield. Gets good penetration, but it's Rozier who gets around him with a good move at the line of scrimmage. But Jacob Green has got to make that play in the backfield. That's a negative play if he can make it. That's the difference between a good Seattle defense and a bad one. Making that little bit of a play, and it'll stop up and throw a running back for a loss.
Rozier, the remaining back. 6 in the secondary. Second and 7. Seattle expects the pass and moves throw. And he goes deep. Has a man all alone and misses him. Hill was wide open. Taylor and Moyer were the closest defenders.
You remember,
Warren, what's that one?
Yeah, he really does. You remember Warren Moon has had problems with a broken shoulder blade. He's recovered. He missed a 2 games early in the season, but he seems to underthrow this football just a bit. It's right on a line, and Jerry Glanville had said earlier in the week, sometimes because of the injury, Warren is having trouble putting a little bit of air under the football. But that time, it should have been a line drive throw, but you're right, Charlie. He wasn't loose enough to throw that long of a ball.
Time he put enough air on it. That was a perfect play. 57 yards. And for Drew Hill, that is his 7th touchdown of the year. And the crowd becoming very quiet.
Well, that's what you've got to do if you're a visiting team here in this dome. The crowd is, their noise is well documented, but it has changed dramatically in the last 10 seconds with the touchdown to Hill.
A 90-yard drive in 9 plays. Boone to Hill, 57 yards for the Capper. And he did it, and it was 3rd and 7. Zendejas to attempt the point after, and it is good. And Houston on the opening drive moves out in front of the Seahawks by a score of 7-0.
You're right, they came right back to it, Charlie. The Seahawks had 4 people to cover 3 receivers in the backfield, and Drew Hill was the only man who had double coverage, and he split the 2 safeties, going straight down the middle of the field. Watch it, safety in the middle of the field. Moon looks to his left to move the safety, and by that time, Robinson, number 41, is beaten. Dean is out of the play completely, but Hill was the only one who had any form of a double coverage. What it was is a 3 safety in the middle. Number 41, Eugene Robinson, was looked away by Warren Moon. Credit Moon with the look away and with the strong throw. They came right back to the receiver who was open on the previous play.
But do you think the defense would be ready once that they know that they're open? We'll answer that question after we check the 10-minute ticker. Chicago out in front of Washington in the 4th quarter. Cincinnati and Kansas City, we're following that one. They're now tied, possibly headed to overtime in the 4th. New England by 1 over the New York Jets. New England really playing well recently. Indianapolis defeating Green Bay in the 4th, and Philadelphia by 1 over Pittsburgh. That's the final, and a good showing for the Steelers. San Diego defeats Atlanta. San Diego continues to struggle. Atlanta's just struggling more. And Tampa Bay over Detroit, 2 other teams that are struggling. The margin there is also 3 points. Here the score is Houston 7 and Seattle nothing. As Zendejas is kicking off with David Hollis and Bobby Joe Edmonds, the 2 deep backs on the return. And a flag dropped back at the 40-yard line as it is down in the end zone by David Hollis. And so on both of the kickoffs, we've had flags. And meanwhile, downfield Mojo is starting to hear everybody in anticipation that he runs out on the field, takes the kicking tee, comes to the Houston sideline and forward roll, and he'll spike it, but this time he just brought it back and handed it to Zendejas because we're going to kick again. Jerry Glanville, the head coach of the Houston Oilers, their record is 7-3.
On the kicking team, number 28, 5-yard penalty. We will re-kick.
Chris Dishman offsides on the kickoff.
This is a colorful Houston sideline, isn't it? With Mojo grabbing the tee.
That's one of the great understatements.
Yes, Jerry Glanville dressed in his traditional black outfit, a custom-made jacket, by the way.
There's the drive that I was talking about, 90 yards in 9 plays. Do you come back to the same play? Offensively, you think that, but doesn't the defense react when they say, they burned us with that, now we have to adjust if we have the same look again, or did they give him a little different look?
Well, it was a little bit of a different look, but every time a receiver comes back, he says, "Hey, I was open." It's the automatic question. The quarterback says, "Hey, were you open?" He says, "Yeah, I was open. I was open." So come back to
this time again. He really was.
Yeah, he really was open that. But you credit Moon as much as Hill on the play because they say you read a quarterback's eyes. It's not really, it's his head. And Moon gave the look to the side, pulled the safety over, and made the strong throw.
Zendejas kicking off. Meanwhile, some movement amongst the kickoff team. This is Hollis on the return. He's out to the 20, the 25-yard line, where he is down at that point. And Seattle now will move on offense for the first time in the ball game as Chris Dishman makes the tackle. And the ovation, the return of Dave Craig at quarterback. Maybe one of the nicest ovations that he's had in his career. Craig, Williams, Warner, Blades, Largent, Tice, Mattis, Bailey, Bush, Millard, and Wilson, the offensive set for Seattle, as they go to work, trailing 7-0 at the 25-yard line with 10:04 time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Kurt Warner in motion, and here is John L. Williams to the left side, and he picks up about 3 to the 28-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 7. Let's look at that Houston Oiler defense. It is a very good one. Houston's a good ball club. Well, could they be in the playoffs? Childress, Bird, and Fuller showing as the front 3. Bird, of course, starting in place of Doug Smith, who's out on a 30-day suspension. Lyles, Grimsley, Smith, and Meads, the linebackers. Brown, Allen, Bostic, and Donaldson. That is a substance abuse suspension for 30 days. 2nd down and 7. Will that have an effect at nose tackle?
I don't think so. Bird used to start at a right end, but they used him as a nose tackle often enough. He's a good football player.
Craig into traffic. Pass is complete to John Spagnola. First down. Spagnola's first reception of the season. Seattle opened with a double tight end set and a pickup of 16 on the second play from scrimmage. First down at the 44.
Yesterday I asked Dave Craig, because of the injury, do you want to get on the field and get your feet underneath you by running the ball a little bit? He said, well, actually, we're hoping that Houston thinks that I want to get my feet underneath me and put a couple of running plays up, but we're going to come out throwing, and sure enough, Spagnola with the catch.
An upset today. It's a final. Kansas City 31, Cincinnati 28. So Cincinnati's record is now 8-3. That means if Houston wins here today, they are now tied with Cincinnati for the lead in the Central Division. And here's Warner, a little dip. He's around the corner. Good move. And then wheeled out of bounds. Jeff Donaldson really nailed him and hit him high. A gain of 10. And I believe it will be a first down, yes. By about a step.
Now, Houston gambled just a little bit on this play, Trey. They got to get support on the corner coming upfield. It's tough to tell exactly who it is. Childers, number 79, trying to run Warner down. But the problem with that, and there you see the hit on the sideline, it was legal. He was not yet out of bounds.
We'd like to welcome the New York Jets and the New England viewers who've been watching that game. We're in the Kingdome in Seattle, and Houston leading the Seahawks 7-0. Pull it in at the 13-yard line. And there was tight coverage on it.
Well, I'll tell you what happened on this play, and it happens often to a receiver, and there's really no excuse for dropping a football, as Largent did there. But he was stumbling coming out of his move. He got caught in the turf, and when he was trying to collect his steps, it's more difficult to focus on the football when it's coming to you. He was worried about keeping his feet. It happens very often. If you watch him, he was stumbling coming out of the move and then trying to focus on the football. How many times will you see Largent drop a ball like that? But that is the reason for it.
We attempt to now gather more viewers, those watching the Kansas City-Cincinnati game. Here's Mike Price with a reception from Dave Craig. Houston leading Seattle by a score of 7-0, a gain of 13 on the play, which is Johnson with a defensive stop for Houston. And the Seahawks on the move.
Yeah, this is a spark the Seahawks have not seen. Schoffer, of course, has been playing quarterback for Chuck Knox and the injury to Dave Craig. But there was a spark in practice. The players kept saying...
On the line, as you talked to Dave Craig wants to push it further down the line, yes. But this is a spark that they have not seen these weeks. First down, Largent in motion. Craig drops it off far side to Kurt Warner. Warner to the 29-yard line. He picks up 3. He's second down and 7. Johnny Meade with a tackle. Kurt Warner has had some abuse from the fans, from the coaching staff, and from the media. That this year, particularly recently, not running with great authority, not establishing himself. He's trying to prove himself today. Now we'd like to welcome those watching the Green Bay-Indianapolis game. And again, for our new viewers, it is Houston 7 and Seattle 0. We expect to see Warner running with more authority. You have to prove yourself. In reality, every game that you play. I mean, that's the name of the game.
Right. After his knee injury a couple of years ago, he suffered through a couple of injuries.
Flag down. John L. Williams, the ball carrier, and he is down.
And part of it is also...
Started himself and is quite a fullback in this league. He's the leading receiver for Seattle as the flag will go against Houston.
I'm not sure. Has it been announced?
Offside.
Has the Kansas City-Cincinnati score been announced? It has been announced. No, it has not been announced. So,
second down.
As far as we know, Houston is not aware that Cincinnati lost today. They will, within a couple of minutes, I'm sure, have that information on the bench.
But I say that's the kind of thing that a coach does not want his team to know about.
Really?
Yeah. Because then you start looking at the scoreboard and think, gee, you want to play this game. They can't do anything about what happened to Cincinnati today. They win the rest of the games, they're in the playoffs. That's a certain. But if they start watching the scoreboard, you get in trouble. And sometimes a coach will ask not to have that score announced.
Donnell Williams, second down and 1, following the penalty to the 21-yard line. And he should pick up the first down. William Fuller with the tackle. Let's update the scores on our 10-minute ticker. Still in the fourth quarter, Chicago in front of Washington. Final Cincinnati, Kansas City, with Kansas City the upset. New England by 1 over the Jets. Those, of course, being finals. 2 other finals, Indianapolis over Green Bay and Philadelphia by 1 over Pittsburgh, with the Steelers playing well today. San Diego by 3 over Atlanta, and Tampa Bay by 3 over Detroit. Raiders in San Francisco, no score in the first. And in the other game that you saw also, no score in the first. Here it is Houston 7 and Seattle nothing, with Largent in motion. Craig timing pattern, has his man. Can he get there? No. It was Brian Blades, and he just could not get to it.
When we talked to some of the players earlier this week, they said Kelly Stouffer is the quarterback of the future, but sometimes he doesn't know where to go with the football. Dave Craig stepped to the line of scrimmage and said, I've got man-to-man coverage right there, and that's where I'm going with it. So if Blades doesn't get open, that's his fault. Now, Craig
How can he tell at that point that there's man-to-man
He's
coverage?
looking at the safety. Blades is out to the right. Look, there's nobody on this side of the field. He's got a man-to-man. That safety who's running over is never going to get over in time, but Craig makes the mistake that he overthrows the play.
All right, but how does he know? What is his read? What does he see?
He's looking at the safety. Safety, middle of the field, deep middle. Nobody can get out there. Nobody's going to run fast enough. He knows what play he has on. He's got man-to-man coverage right now.
Here's the draw. Williams. Good defensive play. Eugene Seal. Oh, an excellent defensive play. Good anticipation, good execution.
And Eugene Seal has been coming along. 5'9.5", 240 pounds out of Lamar. Watch the play he makes. See, he's a small guy, but I don't think that's a bad deal. Number 53, Steele, sneaks underneath everybody. You got all those big, large, fat defensive linemen there, and there's little guy sneaks around and gets
Big,
it.
large, fat defensive lineman?
I got to tell you, sometimes
You're going to hear from him, right?
well, you know, there's some
Big, large, fat defensive lineman.
That's right. That's true.
Third down and 12. Shotgun. Williams back to block. Timing pattern, touchdown.
Got man-to-man all over the field again. There you see the blitz by the safety. It looked like Donaldson 31 going by. The Blades make sure this time of the play. He's beating Richard Johnson, number 23. Take a look at it from another angle. Johnson was just beaten right at the line of scrimmage. When you've got a receiver like Blades, you've got to bump him. If you miss him at the line, it's over.
Extra point, Largent is holding. That's a change of holders. Normally is Jeff Kemp. He's inactivated for this game. It is good. We are tied. It is 7-7 in the Kingdom. 4 minutes and 42 seconds. That is the time remaining. We're in the first quarter here in the Kingdom. We are tied 7-7. Seattle kicking off. That is Norm Johnson. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beer. Harris and White are the deep backs on the return. And it will be Harris, 2 yards deep. He'll down it in the end zone. So we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And remember, Houston started their first drive at the 10-yard line. They went 90 yards in 9 plays. And we'll be back in just a moment with the start of Houston's second drive. Welcome back to the Kingdom. The crowd really back into the ball game here. I'm Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Semple. A very important drive for Seattle.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons. Dave Craig back in the lineup after being away for a couple of weeks with a separated shoulder really gave a lot of spark to this team, something they had not had in a couple of weeks. And also, it got the crowd back into it. This is the loudest stadium in all of football, and now Houston's got to deal with this crowd.
Are you really that tall?
Yes, I'm actually this tall.
Taller than I am. Houston from the 20. Gibbons in motion. Rozier to the 26-yard line. A gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Tony Woods with the tackle. And so Houston, once again, coming out in a running mode.
Well, that's what they do and probably do best. With Rozier and with Highsmith, they like to wear defenses down. They've got a big offensive line. They average 293 pounds along that front group. 3 number-1 draft choices, so they're just going to pound away as long as they can.
Rozier, lead forward close to the 29-yard line. We'll give him 3, and it'll be 3rd down and 1. Now for an update, let's go to New York.
All right, Charlie, at Arrowhead, the Chiefs tied the Bengals with 1:11 left. The ensuing kickoff was fumbled by Cincinnati's Mark Logan. That set up this 39-yard field goal by Nick Lowry with 2 seconds left as the Chiefs upset the Bengals 31-28. Back to Charlie and Jimmy in Seattle.
And, of course, the score in that ball game, a major effect as far as Houston is concerned, because they now figure, hey, we win here, we're tied for the lead. 5 games to go, we can win the Central Division.
And if they can win on the road in a tough place like this Dome, their confidence will be supreme.
Yeah. Alan Pekin, now the running back. Tony Woods makes the stop.
Now that's what Houston does. They use Rozier to pound away at a defense, then all of a sudden they stick Pickett in there, who's more of a slashing type runner, as we take a look at the late starting games.
No score, Raiders San Francisco. No score, New Orleans and the Rams. And, of course, here it is 7-7. Denver out in front of Cleveland at Mile High Stadium, 10-0. And Phoenix in front of the New York Giants in the first quarter by a score of 7-0. First down at the 31-yard line. Houston's second possession of the ball game. 6 in the secondary. So Seattle is looking for Moon to throw on first down here. And he's going to. And it is caught at the 36-yard line by Drew Hill, who has the touchdown reception for Houston in the ballgame. By the way, his 7th of the year. Melvin Jenkins with the tackle.
Sure, that is that red gun formation that they call it in Houston. 4 wide receivers. They run it about 50% of the time. So just because it's first down doesn't mean they're going to come out with that pounding offense they like with Rozier and Highsmith. They like to mix it up and throw the football on first down when they can. By the way, the red gun is a form of the old run and shoot by Mouse Davis. June Jones, who's the backfield coach here in Houston, was a quarterback for Mouse Davis at Portland State, and he's taking the offense with him.
So Warren, 3 of 5, and hits this one, and it is complete to Ernest Gibbons. And he has the first down at the 46-yard line. Eugene Robinson with the tackle. And what's the other mark at the 45? And the Houston offense just continues to move.
Yeah, you know who's really happy to see Warren Moon back in the lineup? Ernest Gibbons is, because he's got an incentive, a monetary incentive to reach 1,000 yards rushing. And it didn't look like he was going to hit it with Brent Peace as the starting quarterback.
1,000 receiving.
1,000 receiving, I'm sorry. And Brent Peace is the quarterback replacing Moon, was not having that good of a year. And so they're very happy to see Warren back.
Gibbons 502 yards coming into this game, so he has to hit 500, hit the 100 yards. It's doable. He can still make it, you're right. But he needs Warren for the yardage. First down at the 45. Alan Pekin. And it'll be 5 yards to the 50, second down and 5. The Oilers with 5 very good running backs in Rozier and Highsmith, who started, Pinkett and Tillman, and then Lorenzo White, who we've seen on the kickoff return team, but he's rushed only 22 times this year, so they have a plethora of running backs.
They certainly do. Jerry,
like that?
plethora, I love that. Yeah,
plethora.
Good word. Good word.
That means 5.
Oh, does it?
It means more than 2.
If it has more than 2 syllables, don't talk to me about it.
It's okay, plethora. Took you right out of your thought, didn't I? Second and 5. And Alonzo Highsmith brought down by Tony Woods. Gain of 1 to the Seattle 49. Third down and 4. And so you expect Houston to throw, but he'll be throwing in the second quarter. As the first quarter comes to a close, and the score in the Kingdom, the Houston Oilers 7 and the Seattle Seahawks 7. And we'll be back for the second period in just a moment.
As the man the Cowboys looked to when they needed a miracle, this wide receiver had a gift for grabbing victory from the jaws of defeat. Time and time again, he came through in the clutch for the Cowboys. Who was this legend. Greer concluded with 489 receptions, but his game-saving catches solidified his position as a legend. The NFL plays here when the... For your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
This is Ken Behring, the new owner of the Seattle Seahawks. We met him before the ballgame and had a chance to visit with him.
And one of the most personable owners of the National Football League team I've ever met.
Yes, he invited us to come down and visit him, in his place of estate outside of Oakland, the Bay Area. We accepted. He said, I'll send a car for you. I said, well, believe me, we'll be there. Moon scrambles. He'll have the first down. He's got it to the 40, and then he heads out of bounds at the 36-yard line. So a good scramble for Warren Moon and a first down for Houston, as they started this drive at their 20, and now it's at the Seahawks 36-yard line as he picks up 15. And there is Mike Rozier. He has a bruised finger, and he will be returning.
And you see him gripping the football to make sure he can get his hands around it. He doesn't want to step out there and hurt the team by fumbling because of the bruise.
I know you're not supposed to talk about this, but on a bruised finger, can you shoot it with Novocaine so that it doesn't hurt?
Yes.
Or would that be bad?
No, well, I wouldn't want to do it as a receiver or a running back, but that has been done in the past. But if you lose the feeling on the tip of the finger, you can't feel where the football is.
Yeah, okay. So it wouldn't be a good choice. Gibbons in motion. Moon a little low, but it's incomplete. Dwayne Harper had the coverage, and the intended receiver was Willie Drury, and here's the stats of the first half.
Not much of a surprise. We expected Houston to run the football as much as they have, with the 42 yards rushing, the big advantage there.
And really, in the first quarter, you had 2 long drives.
Yeah, that's what it came down to. Time of possession. A week ago, Seattle was out-possessed by the Buffalo Bills by about 10 minutes, so it's a stat that I don't believe is very important. If you score in 2 seconds, it doesn't matter how much time you have the football.
Yeah, it's what you do with it.
Right.
Second and 10. Down. I was expecting Moon to throw. Is that an audible? He took a lot of time at the line of scrimmage, and then he goes with a running play.
Yeah, well, what they did is they tried to spread the defense by putting that 4-receiver group in there. Spread them as far as you can, and then come back up the middle, but it didn't work.
It's going to be a motion call against the Houston Oilers.
What was odd about that play is that Jacob Green, number 79, was having a block thrown on him. We're trying to a block thrown against him.
Left guard. Penalty is declined. Third down.
They declined the penalty. The line of scrimmage, the 35-yard line. So there's actually a gain of a yard on the play, but it is third down and 9 rather than second and 15.
Ernest Givens, number 81, was forced to try and block Jacob Green, is what I was trying to get to, and it didn't quite work.
Jacob's probably thrilled, and Ernest said, we've got to discuss this. Rozier, the remaining back. Givens in motion. Incomplete. Rozier, by the way, a very good block in the backfield, protecting the quarterback. Curtis Duncan, the intended receiver. It is fourth down and 9 at the 35-yard line, and Zendejas is going to go with a long field goal attempt, as long as this year is 50 yards.
And Rozier's not afraid to block. They used to call him a bula back in the beginning. He's got Dean on a blitz. Good. That's a good block. See, what it is that Dean had him man-to-man coverage. When he saw Rozier set up the block, he blitzed.
In other words, he's a shadow. Where he goes, he goes.
Right, it's called a key blitz. I've got that man-to-man. If he's blocking, there's no sense in me sitting back here. I'm going to go and blitz the quarterback.
Zendejas, a 52-yard field goal attempt. He's got the distance. He has it. 52 yards away out of the hold of Brent Peace. And Houston now leads Seattle by a score of 10-7. With 14:07 left to go in the first half. We'll be back with the kickoff in just a moment.
Today's game is brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By MasterCard. Every time you choose MasterCard to make a purchase, we'll make a contribution to 6 worthy causes. And by Atra Plus. Gillette made it smoother. Tony
Zendejas kicking off, and that 52-yard field goal The third time that he has hit from 52 yards away, tying his longest. Smart move here by David Hollis. He muffed the ball, did not have possession. Step back. He can then recover it in the end zone. It's an automatic touchback, and you bring it out to the 20-yard line. Houston 10, Seattle 7. Seattle on offense for the second time in the ballgame as they start from their 20-yard line.
Zendejas, after a shaky start, is now 6 of 8 in his last 8 kicks. So he's really coming along. Jerry Glanville said, hey, he's our kicker. He can kick the football, and he showed some confidence in him, and now Zendejas is paying him back.
Here's Kurt Warner. And a good defensive play. A flag is down. Maybe a yard, and that's going to be just about it, as Robert Lyles made the penetration and cut him down. Let's see what the flag's about. Holding against the Seahawks. And so they'll take it back to the 10-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty.
On Edwin
Repeat
Bailey.
the down. First down.
And it's first down and 20 at the 10.
And this has been a problem that the Seahawks have had. They've had difficulty in the offensive line as we take a look at the scoreboard. A week ago, 3 sacks by the Buffalo Bills against that team.
Denver in front of Cleveland by 10. That's the same. Phoenix now 2 touchdowns. The lead over the Giants. Both of those games in the second quarter. Here it is Houston 10 and Seattle 7. We're in the second quarter with 13-14 left to go in the first half. And they're now going to reset the game clock. And as soon as that is reset, then we will resume. It'll be first and 25. And here is Jamie Williams, the tight end of the Houston Oilers. Easy to recognize. Very active in Houston in the drug program, talking with youngsters. He dresses up as Spider-Man, right, and rides his motorcycle out to the parks and talks to the kids.
And he takes his dog, Sir Raven Warlock, with him along.
He's having a ball and doing and really doing. That's really a neat thing that he does. I must tell you, in all honesty, that if I saw him coming down the street as Spider-Man on a motorcycle, I would have some doubt. It is tipped. It is in the air. Houston has an interception at the 9-yard line. Big break for the Oilers. Richard Byrd with the interception, and I believe also is the man who tipped it. And the Oilers will have the ball at the Seattle 9.
Richard Byrd is used to being a defensive end. I mentioned earlier. Take a look at him, middle of your screen, gets the right paw up. That's what it was. And what great reaction for a defensive lineman, not only batting up into the air, but having enough presence of mind to go up with both hands at its height. Well, not quite at its highest point, but a nice play by Richard Byrd. He was a defensive end previously and is used to getting those hands up in the air. So now as a nose tackle, he gets his first career interception. Doesn't make much sense, but he's loving it.
Now at the 9-yard line of Seattle, it's a first down, and Rozier to the 4. So he picks up 5. It'll be second down and goal to go. And it will be a heated battle, and flags are down. You can expect a heated battle. 2 very tough physical football teams. And normally in this situation you have offsetting penalties, and that's the end of that. Let's see how the call goes.
Personal foul. Defense, number 58.
Bruce Schultz.
Personal foul. Number 87, offense.
Jamie Williams.
Penalties are all set. Second down.
Jamie Williams is also an avid reader of Tolstoy and is a pianist. And he didn't look like a pianist on that play when he was going toe-to-toe with Schultz.
And now the officials have placed the ball at the 9. It was a dead ball foul, so they'll take it back at the end of the run. And that is the 4-yard line, where it will be second down and goal to go. And I'm not always in agreement with offsetting penalties. I don't think that establishes anything. If you've got a very tough ball game, the officials have to retain control. You penalize people, and you do it immediately. You establish control. Then it will not get away from you. Rozier. Cuts against the flow. It may be the 2. A flag is down. David Wyman makes the tackle. To the 2-yard line, possibly the 1. It'll be holding against Houston. The line of scrimmage was before. They will assess the penalty from the spot of the foul. And it will be 2nd down and goal to go again.
Holding. Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Holding on Jamie Williams.
Please return the field clock to 12 minutes and
Now they're going
58
to reset
seconds.
the clock and we'll
Please return the field clock to
bring the
12
ball out
minutes
to the
and
14-yard
58
line.
seconds.
And it's 2nd down and goal to go.
And we've talked about it before. The Oilers are the worst penalized team in the NFL, and it hurts them drastically. At one time, Charlie, we did a game a couple of weeks ago. They were averaging more than 100 yards per game in penalties. You see they brought their average down just a little bit, but Jamie Williams, in the last 2 plays, has gotten 2 major penalties. They're fortunate, as you said earlier, that one was offsetting.
Highsmith, the remaining back, room to throw. Has a man wide open, and it is intercepted. It's blocked by Paul Meyer. Warriors are taking the lead.
Look under specially marked chunky lids and you...
Here's a look at the interception. Zone coverage. Watch when Hill comes off the ball. Everybody drops off. That's how you know it's a zone. And Moyer is lurking in the middle of the end zone. It's a bad play on the part of Warren Moon. He has to know it's zone when he sees them all drop off like that. And if you're going to throw the football down there, you've got to throw it right now off the line of scrimmage, not deep in the end zone. Moyer with his 6th interception leading the team.
And Seattle has the ball at their own 29-yard line, so an exchange of interceptions. One at the 9, this one in the end zone, one out to the 29-yard line. And John L. Williams gets the call. 3rd offensive drive for the Seattle Seahawks. Richard Byrd, who had that interception, makes the tackle here.
It used to be easy when you were down. It's called the green zone. When you get inside of the 20, it's the money area. People call it the green zone. Teams used to always play man-to-man coverage. Not that way any longer as you take a look at the takeaways. Strong on both sides. Number 1 and number 2 in the AFC, by the way. The number 1 team in the NFL for takeaways, pure takeaways, you're not going to believe who it is.
Tell me.
The Green Bay Packers.
You're kidding.
No, they had 33 coming into today's contest, and it's hard to believe.
It is.
The problem is they give the football up too often.
That's the only thing they've done, though, isn't it? They've had a couple of upsets. Flags are down. Kurt Warner around the corner, and he is bumped out of bounds. And now we'll check out the flag. And it's going to go against Seattle, and Houston is going to take it. And here it is.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 28. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Kurt Warner got a running start.
Well, he was going laterally, though. You know, that's a very hairy call. If a running back goes in motion and he's going laterally, he's not in motion, is he?
Laterally or away. But if he takes that step forward, he's a dead dog.
Well, which, in truth, he's allowed 1 step. But they never, you try to explain that to the official, they say, no. It's intense. They go with intense.
2nd and 14. Reagan the shotgun. Comes with a 4-man rush. A pass that you normally see in the end zone. That was to Large and it's incomplete. And it's just a timing pattern down the right side. It is incomplete. We'll bring it back. It'll be 3rd down and 14. And now let's go to Gale in New York.
All right, Charlie, at Mile High AFC Championship matchup 2 years running, the Browns and the Broncos. John Elway going 11 yards to Orson Mobley. The Broncos now lead the Browns 13-0. Let's go back to Seattle. Charlie and Jimmy.
And of course, Denver, the Raiders, and Seattle all tied for the lead in the West at 5-5. And And here Houston leads Seattle by a score of 10-7. We have 11:41 left to go in the first half. Craig deep over the middle has a man open. 19 yards on the play, first down. And of course, Butler immediately covered by a multitude of Houston Oilers. You saw the Seahawks trying to come in to let him know there were some friendly jerseys in the neighborhood.
Craig is a little bit late on this ball, so he's got to float it over the linebacker in the middle, and he gets it right into the area, but that's no man's land for a receiver. Your arm's extended. The one thing that's exposed are all those ribs inside, and he was actually fortunate not to get hit right as he caught the football. Did a good job hanging on to it, though.
Kenny Johnson with the original defensive hit. First down at the 45-yard line, they'll call it. Warner's going to lose a yard. And it'll be second down and 11. William Fuller, defensive end. Let's check the 10-minute ticker. No score still between the Raiders and San Francisco, and like score New Orleans and the Rams. Denver by 13, Phoenix by 14. And here it is Houston by 3, 10-7.
That Cleveland score of great interest, of course, to the Oilers and their fans. They can really take a giant step toward a division championship if they can win today, and if Cleveland continues to slide.
Here's the draw. John L. Williams. Around the corner. 50, 45, first down. Alabama. A gain of 13 and the first down.
The speed of John L. Williams is what's impressive. He got around the corner and actually beat Keith Bostic, a strong safety, to the corner to get around it and turn it into a big play. He's turned into maybe the most complete fullback in the league. We said Highsmith is the best blocker. That's debatable because John L. is a good blocker. Leading receiver on the club, and as you can see, he's got the speed to turn the corner.
First down Seattle at the Houston 43-yard line. Mike Tice in motion. Craig to throw. Little play action to freeze the linebacker. Pass is complete. John L. Williams. He's going to lead to the 39, maybe the 38-yard line. Mark it for 5. It'll be second down and 5. And as Jimmy pointed out, the leading receiver for the Seattle Seahawks coming into this game, and you wonder about that statistic, though, when you have Steve Largent.
Yeah, you really do. Steve Largent had 27 receptions coming into today. Part of the reason, when you've got a backup quarterback like Kelly Stauffer, that short passing game is more effective, and that's why a fullback has gotten more involved. Also, it has something to do with trying to protect the quarterback. Some coaches believe to protect the quarterback, you throw on first down, and that, of course, involves the fullback.
Steve Largent does not have a reception. He has, of course, as you know, the consecutive game record, 162. And it is a current record, and John L. is going to lose a yard. And it's going to be third down and 6. The ball at the 39-yard line. John Grimsley, the Oilers' leading tackler, 71 this season. 8 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. Time remaining here in the first half. Steve Largent, 1977, at age 23. That is when the record started.
And of course,
November the 13th, 11 years ago to the day.
That's exactly 11 years. Of course, he was originally a member of the Houston Oilers team. They traded him here to Seattle.
It is tipped. It is still caught at the 29-yard line by Ray Butler. Patrick Allen had very tight coverage on it. A gain of 10, first down. Balls in the first half?
It's quite a few. I think Craig changed that play at the line of scrimmage. But you're right, a couple of balls tipped in the first half. The one resulted in the big interception that Bird wound up with. Sean Jones, I think, number 96. Top part of your screen. Yeah, he gets blocked, but has enough presence of mind to get the hand up in the air. Bailey, number 65, trying to put the block in.
First down at the 29-yard line. Spagnola, the motion man. Spagnola. Drag out of bounds. second down and 5.
That's a bit of an unusual play. They ran the play action fake, only 2 receivers into the pattern, and Craig really made that play by a very good play action fake. Pulled a lot of the Houston Oilers defense.
One of the things that you may have noticed, the protection of the officials on both sidelines. And any player, once he is hit on the sideline or goes out of bounds, they're over there immediately surrounding him with their arms around him, stretched out, like for everybody else to stay away.
It's not a bad idea. There's been too many late hits in this league.
You like that as a receiver? You like that?
Man, I love it.
Second and 5. Here's Kurt Warner. 22-yard line. It'll be third down and 3. Richard Johnson with the tackle for Houston. 7:15 and counting. That is the time remaining in the second quarter. The Oilers leading by 3. Moon to Hill, a 57-yard touchdown pass on the opening drive. Craig to Blades, a 23-yard touchdown pass for Seattle opening drive. And then Zendejas with a 52-yard field goal, tying his career record. Third time that he's hit from 52 yards away. Martin showing motion. Overthrown. It is intercepted in the end zone, then dropped. It is going to be incomplete. Jeff Donaldson almost had the interception, large at the intended receiver, and Craig was way high.
Yeah, well, he should not have gone to that area whatsoever. Take a look at the tail end of the play if we can take a look at it. Count how many Oilers there are in the middle of the field. Take a look at it. You got 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just one receiver. Larson does the best he can do. Find a defensive back and run into him if you can't get to the football.
Donaldson juggled it, just couldn't pull it in. A 40-yard field goal attempt by Norm Johnson and Steve Largent, the new holder. Houston calls a timeout. They, I believe, had too many men on the field, and one was trying to get off. Let's do a quick count. 1, 2, 3,
Timeout.
6, 7, 8,
Houston,
9, 10.
their
Oh, they may have
first
miscounted.
Well, Jerry Glanville was standing on the sideline trying to get them to call the timeout, but you're right, they were incorrect, Charlie. They only had 11 men on the field.
Choose to make a difference.
This is Charlie Jones and Jimmy Cepolo. Houston, of course, wanted to make sure they did not have 12 men. The penalty would have given them the first down. They only had 11, but rather than take any chance, they took the timeout, and now the 40-yard field goal is hit by Norm Johnson. Good snap, good hold, and it tears through. It doesn't get any closer. And we've got a tie ball game. It is Houston 10 and Seattle 10. A 40-yard field goal with 6:34 left to go first half. We'll be back with the kickoff. Norm Johnson concerned about the change in holders.
Take a look at the ball as it nicks the right upright and deflects back in for a good field goal. Right. There, you're right.
They just hooked enough.
They can't get any closer than that.
Oh, yeah. And it was a good hole by Largent. But that's kicking is such a mental game. Johnson to kick off. Now, Harris is the deep back. The 40-yard field goal by Norm Johnson is previous long this season, 47 yards. And this one will be down in the end zone by Harris, and Houston will start from the 20-yard line. Now let's take a look at all of the scores. These are the early ball games. Of course, they are finals. The Chicago defeats Washington. Kansas City upsets Cincinnati. New England over the Jets by 1. Indianapolis defeats Green Bay, and Philadelphia down to the Steelers by 1, 27-26. San Diego by 3 over Atlanta, and Tampa Bay by 3 over Detroit. And the games going on, what we call the late games, no score. Raiders in San Francisco. New Orleans leading the Rams by a score of 7-0. James, a good ball club. Really good ball club. Moon comes out throwing. It is behind Ernest Gibbons. It is incomplete. It will be second down and 10. Denver now comfortably in front of Cleveland by a score of 20-0. And it is Phoenix in front of the Giants 14-0.
And two very important games, both in the AFC and in the NFC.
In the West, Seattle, the Raiders, and Denver all tied for the lead. Identical records with 5-5. You're going to have to win the West to make the playoffs. Not going to see a wild card come from that division. Here's Rozier. 5 yards to the 25. Third down and 5 as Bruce Schultz stops him. Edmonton fans are here. Sorry, Warren. Yes. First, Warren Moon, as you know, played in the Canadian Football League and very successfully in the Canadian Football League. Played his collegiate ball here as a Husky at the University of Washington. And the Apple Cup is coming up between Washington and Washington State, capturing this entire area.
Up at Coleman a week from Saturday.
Yes. Yeah. Cougars, good ball club. Yeah. Third down and 5. Third for the shotgun. It is low. Is it caught? No. Drew Hill, the intended receiver, the official right there said it was down. Cannot fool Tom Johnson, who is the headliner. Melvin Jenkins had the coverage. A little smile from Drew. He knew he didn't get away with that one.
Yeah, you got to be part actor to be a wide receiver in this league.
So Greg Montgomery with the first punt of the game, and Bobby Joe Edmonds set for the return.
And that's the first 3 downs and out that I can remember either team having in this game.
5:40, that is the time remaining in the first half. Good walking. Bobby Joe at the 40, 45, about 7 yards on the return. And Seattle will go to work at their own 47-yard line, a 36-yard punt, a 7-yard return, and Jeff Donaldson with the tackle. Kingdom, I'm Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cephalo. There's several power ratings of teams in the National Football League, and all the ones I've seen, the Houston Oilers rated in the top 3.
Yeah, well, normally in the last few years it's been the NFC who dominated those power ratings, and as a result have dominated a lot of the Super Bowls. But when you take a look at them this year, Cincinnati's been included.
I feel like the son looking up at his dad. Go ahead.
Cincinnati's been included. Houston has been included. And when you take a look at the league, the Chicago Bears may be the strongest team in football today, but Houston has played as consistently as anyone.
Yes, they have. Flag is down. Warner, the ball carrier. You like that on-camera shot?
Yeah.
I just want to see if I can throw you. I can. The consummate pro. Was this a late hit?
It appeared to be a late hit out of bounds as Warner swept the right side. When I said consistent for Houston, Charlie, face mask call. The Oilers have been beaten by some big scores.
Face mask, number 93, a 5-yard penalty.
Robert Lyles, just a 5 yards. So that is a non-intentional is the best way I think of it.
Yeah, let's take a look at Lyles, number 93. And there you see, yeah, he got a hold of the face mask.
No,
just for a second, and it came off. Right. But you can't touch it. It's a good call because it was not intentional. But the Oilers, Charlie, as I was saying, were beaten by some big scores. The Cincinnati game that we did, they were beaten fairly badly.
Oh, they were down 28-0 at the end of the first quarter.
The Jets, they were beat badly. But in the last 3 weeks, they have played as strongly as any club in the league. They really have. And Jerry Glanville and his staff did a good job of getting them back from that big Cincinnati loss.
What they are doing, in case you're wondering, they're going to add the penalty to the end of the play. And they took the end of the play and then the penalty to see if it has the first down. And yes, a card. Is that a driver's license? I'm leaning around at the television set.
Usually you get a blade of grass.
But this is the camera angle, so you can't tell that's the head. So they were seeing if there was if you can put a piece of paper down, a thin piece of paper like a driver's license, the ball moves.
Well, they used to get a blade of grass, but you can't do that. You've got to get a driver's license.
Anybody have some plastic? And so they get maybe it's a credit card. So it is a first down at the Houston 43. 5 minutes, 25 seconds. Time remaining second quarter, a tie ball game 10-10. Craig 8 of 13. He's missed 7 weeks. Blades coming back in motion. Blades can throw. There's was going to run. He had large and deep, but there was double coverage on large and deep. Fuller made the stop. You like those kind of plays?
Well,
Did you ever throw that as a wide receiver?
No, you've never seen me throw the football. It's a good play against a team like Houston because they're so aggressive. That's what you need. You need a team that over-pursues. But here, the Oilers stay at home. They read it right away. You don't see any of the safeties coming up. Defensive back running with the receiver downfield. Largent was not open, and so Blades does a smart thing. He hangs onto the football and takes the loss instead of taking an interception. But I like them against overly aggressive teams, and that certainly fits the category of the Houston Oilers.
Second down, loss of about half a yard. Officially, it is second down and 10. Four-man rush. Craig has pressure. He's hit. And it is almost intercepted. Largent saves the interception. Turns into a defender and pulls Donaldson into a cartwheel. Now look at that innocent look as he comes back. That was almost Jeff Donaldson was the defender. Was it almost offensive pass interference? What's this?
It was an odd motion. It may have been that Craig was a nice play by Largent. Donaldson down on his head. It's a great play. But the ball, look at the flight of the ball. It's very unusual. And this is the second time that Largent turns into a defensive back to prevent the interception. Good play.
Yeah, well, Craig was hit just with the release. That's the reason it was floating. They could have dropped a flag on Largent, though, could they not?
Well, offensive interference, but I think he was there right with the ball, was I?
Okay. Craig has pressure again. He rolls out. He's got more pressure. He circles back. Now he throws, and it's Stancy was hit immediately. And Stancy's still down. He was really hit. Good defensive play. Fair, clean hit. Ball was jarred loose and it is incomplete. It'll be third down and 10. But he was exposed with the arms up.
Yeah, we used to call that a Mercy Hospital throw. You know that when it's floating toward you that you're going to get a hit.
And it was Eugene Seal who hit him. So we have an injury timeout as he is being administered to.
It's quite a scramble on the part of Craig. He doesn't show any awareness for the 7 weeks away because of that injured shoulder. Watch this. This is a Fran Tarkenton move right there, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a Fran Tarkenton move.
But then it floated.
Yeah, it did float downfield, and Scansey really paid for it.
Right there. And that's the open spot right on the ribs.
Patrick Allen with a good, like you said, Charlie, a good clean hit.
It was Patrick Allen. Yeah, I thought it was Seal. It was Patrick Allen. And it's going to be third down and 10. But that's just good hard football. And that happens. And you hope, of course, that Scansey is okay. And possibly just the wind knocked out of him because, again, that's extended and that can happen. It also can be a busted rib. And while they're administering to him, we'll take a look at the score. San Francisco now with the field goal, and they are in front of the Raiders. It was a 44-yard field goal. They lead the Raiders by a score of 3-0. New Orleans, Hilliard scoring from 4 yards out for the touchdown, and the Saints in front of the Rams. Denver just waltzing away from Cleveland. It's now 23-0. And the Giants have scored, and it's Phoenix 14. Sims with a touchdown pass from 8 yards out. And here we're tied at 10-10, an injury timeout. Clock is stopped with 4:13 left to go in the first half. And Stancy is not holding his arms, which, when you have a busted rib. But see right there, look.
The fortunate thing for him, though, is that he had an opportunity to bring the football down to his waist, which means his arms come with him, and he protected himself a little bit.
And he goes to grab the stomach first as he falls.
Right. If the arms are up in the air and you get a hit like that, it's a real dangerous time.
Yes, this is the Jones Cephalo medical team with a report that it's only, possibly it is Ruben Rodriguez now to get just the wind knocked out of him, and it's fourth down.
And Rodriguez a week ago had 4 kicks inside the 20 against Buffalo. That's what he's aiming for again today.
And his first punt of the game, Kenny Johnson is the return man. Low snap, pressure, gets it off. Houston has blocked 5 punts. And they really put the pressure on. And this will be into the end zone for the touchback. Will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Could not quite get there. But they gave it a go, you might say.
Looked like the fire bucket brigade.
It did.
I got it. You take it. All right, we'll get it out of here.
Tonight on NBC, it's Mickey's 60th birthday special.
60th birthday?
Yes. Doesn't look that old. But where's the mouse? Roger Rabbit, Goofy, and stars from NBC shows join in the hunt The Magical World of Disney. That's followed in by Family Ties, and you'll see more of Michael J. Fox in the network television premiere of Back to the Future. Have you seen Back to the Future?
Yes, I have. Wonderful. Delightful movie.
It is fun. That's all tonight on NBC. Right now on NBC, it's the Houston Oilers and the Seattle Seahawks with Mike Rozier carrying from the 20 near the 25-yard line. Tie ball game. There's the time remaining in the first half. Jacob Green with the tackle.
Didn't you just have a starring role with Mickey? Do I remember this?
Yes, I did. We have selected highlights at halftime. At the end of the halftime, we were at Disney World a couple, 3 weeks ago with the Disney World Oldsmobile Golf Classic.
Charlie's conversation with Mickey Mouse, one of the highlights.
Oh, yeah. He's with us at the end of the half. We're going to show you that at halftime. Second and 7. Rozier slips the tackle. He's dangerous once he gets away from that first tackler. He's to the 32-yard line, has the first down. Eugene Robinson finally with the stop.
Notice with Rozier, you don't catch him in the backfield hardly at all because he churns the legs so quickly. Take a look at him. Now, he should be dead to right down right there, but he keeps churning the legs. That's the key to him. Low to the ground. He uses the football in that right hand, which is out in front of him, but he's a tough football player, and the rest of the game, chances are he won't be caught in the backfield at all because he keeps those legs moving.
First down at the 32-yard line. Highsmith cuts back to the 50, has a block downfield, and is out of bounds at the 26-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. Longest gain running of the ball game, 42 yards. We have a 57-yard touchdown pass. 42 yards. And he's not even breathing heavy.
And Highsmith, he used a big block that time by Rozier. They blocked so well for each other. Rozier that time with the block and Highsmith with a nice move.
Right now, the correct graphic. We were talking about the Magical World of Disney, Family Ties, and Back to the Future. And so it all ties together again. That's tonight. You like that? You didn't like it.
That's kind of Mickey Mouse.
Rozier. Notice the moves that is that Pinkett? No, it's Alan Pinkett. He made great head and shoulder moves.
He's a slash type of a runner. He is the mix-up for Rozier. Rozier goes in, bangs away at you, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden they put Pinkett up. Watch him slash inside. Good shoulder movement on the part of him. Nice blocking up front. And a good block, or rather a nice tackle on the part of Eugene Robinson to not take all that shoulder nonsense and make the play.
First down, 16-yard line, 2 minutes left to go in the first half. 2-minute warning. Of course, that means it will be going away, but we will return for the last 2 minutes of the first half. Efren Herrera, former Seahawk, and receiving a special watch. That's a flashback watch when they take one of the highlights of the pass. They show it in the 2-minute warning up on the Diamond Vision, and they make the award here on the field.
Nice touch by the Seahawks.
And he will lose 3. It'll be second down and 13 at the 19-yard line.
Perhaps the best matchup of the day is Dean Steinkohler, number 70, a first-round draft choice of the Houston Oilers a few years ago. A tough, good blocker against Jacob Green, number 79.
Jacob won that one, didn't he?
He sure. Left side of your screen, 79. Take a look. He beats the block by Steinkohler and boom, right in the backfield, 4 yards deep. Nice play on the part of Green.
And Houston takes his timeout, stopping the clock. And we'll take a timeout. 1:48 left to go. We're tied 10-10, first half.
Even when all of Company B heads for the phone, it's no problem for Gail Godfrey.
Houston now has 1 timeout remaining. Remember the time they took the other timeout when they thought they had 12 men on the field on a field goal attempt, and it would have been a 5-yard penalty and a first down for Houston. They only had 11, but it's better to be safe and sure.
Yeah, but now that means they've got to save that timeout, try to get their field goal team on the field, to try to get one before this half ends.
Play action fake. Moves pass drop at the 14-yard line. Jamie Williams did it, was right in his hand.
It's a nice play on the part of Houston. Brian Bosworth has got to cover Williams all the way across the field, and he just waved at it right at the last second, the last gasp, and that's what prevented him from getting the catch. Take a look at Bosworth, bottom part of your screen, just waves in front of it, not close enough to affect the football, but it might have affected Williams' vision, and it drops it. He could have got into the end zone if that football was caught on the run.
And not a favorite target. He has only 6 receptions coming into the game.
And look at Rozier. He wants the football.
Moon, incomplete his last 6 throws. He's missed 6 in a row. Wide open is Duncan. And he is out of bounds. That'll stop the clock around the 7-yard line. Taylor finally caught him. There wasn't anybody close. He was really open.
So they flooded that area, that zone, and they ran 2 receivers down into the end zone and left him to curl behind the rest of the receivers for the game. Interesting situation, though.
It'll be 4th and a yard.
Yeah. And it looks like they're going to go for it.
Time 1:36 left to go. First half. Tied 10-10. 4th down and a yard. Most coaches, I think, would go for the field goal.
Yeah, most coaches would be content to take the lead going into halftime. But Jerry Glanville, I mentioned earlier, has got that offensive line that weighs 293 up front. And if you're going to go in 4th and 1, you better have the horses to do it. He's got them.
And he does like to live on the edge. He does not like to play conservative football.
Speaking of that, he has left his tickets this week for none other than D.B. Cooper,
who also lived on the edge.
That's right.
And then disappeared with all that money and nobody knows. 4th down and 1. Jeff Bryant, Tim Clark turned Rozier away.
Yeah, Ken Clark, who's a nose tackle, was inserted as a linebacker on the play, and line surge up front. This is a Houston team that outweighs the Seattle defensive front by 30 pounds a man, and they couldn't get 4 or 5 inches.
Kurt Warner. Warner scoots to the 50. Gain of 8 will be 2nd down and a couple. A reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game, and that is the time remaining in the first half. And it is 2nd down and 2, and so Seattle could well just use the 45-second clock in a couple of plays. At halftime, Bob, Ahmad, and Gale will be updating all of the scores and the highlights around the league today.
And the fans here, they wanted to take a couple of timeouts and throw the football up in the air, but they've got to be happy at the 10-10 score going into half with a strong Houston team.
Warner now with 40 seconds and counting. Unless Houston wants to stop the clock, that will be the last play of the first half. I agree with that. You do not want to make a mistake here.
They're deep in their own territory. I mean, they got possession of the ball at a...
If Warner on the first one busted it for 35 or 40s in, you can go for it. But not here. And so a very interesting first half. Moon to Hill, 57 yards. Houston led 7-0. Seattle came back to tie. Craig to Blades, 23 yards. Those are the first 2 drives. And then Tony Zendejas, a 52-yard field goal. Norton Johnson, a 40-yard field goal. That has been the score. A very fast-moving first half of football. And it is halftime, and the score is 10-10.
And Houston blew 2 opportunities on that 4th and 1 inside or about the 10-yard line, and then the other one when Moyer intercepted Warren Moon when he seemed
at the
like
9-yard line.
Right, when he seemed to have a receiver open. Yeah. So Houston really has done very well. And we look at the second half or first half statistics later on. I think you'll see a big domination on the part of Houston.
It's halftime. Houston 10, Seattle 10. And Seattle 10. And now let's go back to New York City and an update of the rest of the news and information on today's games in the National Football League.
60 for
But
Mickey
we're
60.
closing on it. All right, we're ready now to start the second half. Houston kicking off. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beer. And the second half is underway. And this one sails to the back edge of the end zone. David Hollis has it there. Zendejas really strong today. And we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. First half statistics.
And as I mentioned at the end of the first half, total yards goes to the Houston Oilers, 219 to 142. They had a couple of scoring opportunities that they threw away, one on the fourth in one situation late in the half, and that one turnover, an interception by Paul Moyer of Warren Moon. And so Houston with some opportunities that they have squandered, despite the fact they have the clear advantage in total yards.
First down, Seattle, their own 20-yard line. Incomplete. Largent still does not have a reception. Allen had the coverage. It'll be second down and 10. Going back to the 4th and 1, disdaining the field goal and going for the first down, not successful. Second guessing is always easy. But I think that most teams would have gone for the field goal.
Yeah, most teams would be happy to go in at halftime with a 13-10 lead, but you got to understand that the Oilers have been playing so very well the last couple of weeks, and as I mentioned, the Oilers have a great advantage up front, the 293-pound average to 263 for the Seattle defense. No wonder Jerry Glanville decided to go.
Kurt Warner, there's 5, 8 yards, 28-yard line, third down and 2. 7 rushes, 38 yards.
Warner, a 3-time Pro Bowler. That knee injury a couple of years ago kept him out for a season. He's subsequently had a pair of ankle surgeries, and as you mentioned earlier, Charlie, this crowd has been getting on him. I don't think he's as productive as he has been in the past, and quite frankly, he has not been.
Double tight end, Tyson Spagnuolo. John L. Williams has to get to the 30-yard line. Following the touchback, they don't even measure here. If the ball touches the chalk mark at the 30, it is not going to, and the kicking team comes out. So Ruben Rodriguez will be kicking, and setting up as the return man is Kenny Johnson. Have tied this year already the NFL record with 5 blocked punts, and they now have 10 men on the line of scrimmage. They don't send everybody, but they send pressure from the outside. Taken at the 26-yard line and dropped by Tony Wood. There was not a flag. There was a crowd reaction. They felt that perhaps Ruben Rodriguez.
Well, somebody was blocked into Rodriguez. I think that's going to be the call, and it certainly is. Jenkins
right.
blocked somebody into the kicker, and so there's no flag.
There's no flag. Correctly so, there's no flag. And a 45-yard kick. And the ball at the 26-yard line. And Houston moves on offense for the first time in the second half. Ball game tied at 10-10. Highsmith, the remaining back, Hill in motion. Moon, the quarterback. Highsmith just to the outside. and has a couple of yards to the 28 where Melvin Jenkins brings him down. Second down and 8.
Highsmith, of course, a sterling career at the University of Miami, actually went to school there as a defensive end. And it was Howard Schnellenberger who said, wait, hold on a minute. I think you can be a fullback. And I'm sure that Alonzo says thank you to Howard Schnellenberger every day. Although he would have been a great outside linebacker.
He's listed at 234.
I don't believe that for a minute.
No, that's a little light. Close to 250. Gibbons in motion, reverses. Here comes pressure from the outside. Pass to Gibbons is complete, and he's down at the 34-yard line. Dwayne Harper makes the tackle. It's going to be third down and 2 at the Houston 34.
The injury to Moon several weeks ago, it was actually a broken shoulder blade, and he's come back very strong off of it. It was the first time he had any major injuries in his professional career, and one of the reasons for that is because he had a very strong off-season weight program. Spent a lot of time there, and as a result, he's come back very strong from the injury.
The residual was more a muscle pain than the shoulder separation after it had healed. Draw, Highsmith. First down. And more. Oh, he put his stiff arm on Robinson and then took him with it.
A good old-fashioned stiff arm.
Oh, yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Earl Campbell when he runs. He has that number on. Take a look at the stiff arm. The fake right at the line of scrimmage. He beats the linebacker coming up front. That's 92 David Wyman. And then the stiff arm underneath Eugene Robinson. And at the end, Robinson gets a little mad right at the end because he could have just pushed him out of bounds. But no. After I get the stiff arm, I got to ride that horse down.
He took him for another 11 yards before he finally got him. A total of 15 and a first down.
That's a football player there.
Houston, 49-yard line. 6 in the secondary, anticipating Warren Moon to throw on first down. And he comes back with a draw. 2 great fakes inside by Pinkett. The 27-yard line. 24 yards. And an injured player is down, and we'll check scores. The Raiders in San Francisco now tied at 3-3. New Orleans leading the Rams 7-3. They're in the third quarter as we are here. Denver, halftime, way out in front of Cleveland, 30-0. They've got a blowout at Mile High. And Phoenix 7 in front of the Giants.
And that Denver-Cleveland game, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. But that's quite a different score than what all anticipated. And that is Vernon D., number 31, who's helping the field.
And Houston with a first down at the Seattle 27-yard line. .31, time remaining third quarter. Yards rushing, the Oilers 167, the Seahawks only 55. Houston possibly the strongest rushing attack in the National Football League. Moon takes a lot of time. Pass is complete to Hill. And Hill to the 14-yard line.
Hill has that rare ability to make someone miss all the time. He takes a short gain here and turns it into a longer one. Take a look at him inside number 85, Hill. Now he gets the short pass. This could be a 3-yard gain, but watch what he does to Wyman. Makes him miss with that great speed to the outside. Dances down the sideline for a 14-yard gain and a first down.
3 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Officially the 13-yard line. First down. Quarterback sneak all the way, 2-yard line. It's going to be first down and goal to go. There was a gap there. Moon does not even call a snap number or color. As soon as he sees it, he just pats the center and they go with it.
Exactly that. He taps the center and goes. They had a play called at the line of scrimmage, but look at the hole right in the middle. There's nobody there. He pushes. Let's go, Pennison, number 52. We're getting downfield. And Pennison with a nice block on Moyer allows him to get a couple more yards.
11
Number
yards.
78 has reported as an eligible receiver. Number 78.
Don Maggs, now an eligible receiver. He will be a tight end. Warren Moon has rushed twice for 24 yards. There's Maggs. He's an eligible receiver. And it's first down and goal to go at the 2. Pinkett. And he stopped. It'll be second down and goal to go. Bosworth leading the defense.
Bosworth, back in his first start after missing the past couple of games because of that shoulder injury, has been relatively quiet today. Just 4 tackles this afternoon. But he calls those defensive signals. He's looking to the sideline.
Number 78 has reported as an eligible receiver.
Maggs once again an eligible receiver. He looks to the sideline, gets the play, and recites it back to his teammates. And Maggs is going to go out there and try to catch the football.
He's a wide receiver. He's a split end. Moon on the top. Pinkett touchdown. Jimmy's just shaking his head with that play.
I like that play.
I know you do. Yes.
It's got some spice to it. Maggs gets to line up in a 3-point stance, which is every offensive lineman's dream out there. And you get to watch the play because you know it's an option going away from you.
And Pinkett just scored his 9th touchdown of the season. And Houston is on top now 16-10 with a point after to come. A 74-yard drive in 8 plays. Zendejas to attempt the point after. And it is good. So Houston, with an opening drive of the second half, their first opportunity on offense, now lead 17-10.
It has a classic design and an engine that sings.
2 minutes and 49 seconds. Pinkett scoring from a couple of yards out, leading the team with 9 touchdowns this year. And Houston looks as good as any team we've seen this year.
Yeah, they really have the last few weeks. This past week on Monday night, they were very strong against Cleveland, and they keep it up today.
So Tony Zendejas will be kicking off with Bobby Joe Edmonds and David Hollis, the deep backs on the return. Edmonds on the near side, Hollis on the far side. And now 2 players switching side for the Oilers so that they have a full head of steam. And the ball is kicked off, and here's Hollis on the return after the 10, the 15, to the 20, has some room, down the sideline and bumped out of bounds. Eric Fair is the man who made the play. An NBC doubleheader next Sunday, Cincinnati at Dallas, Indianapolis at Minnesota, Jets at Buffalo, Pittsburgh at Cleveland, Seattle at Kansas City. And the second half, Denver at New Orleans, and San Diego at the Rams. And what game are you doing next week, Mr. Cepolo?
I will be at Texas Stadium for the game between the Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys while you are doing some golf, Anthony.
Yes, I'm going to be on the island of Maui. Sorry about that. Flags are down. John L. Williams is down. The line of scrimmage was the 34-yard line.
Yeah, you talk about a plethora of anything. Flags flew from all over the field.
I was just thinking about Maui, if you really want to know the truth. And Glanville is saying, yes, it's going to be a holding against Seattle. We'll take it. Is it on Kurt Warner? He's complaining about it.
Offense, number 28.
It was.
10-yard penalty. Still first down.
And Kurt does not agree with the call.
And the thing is, Kurt Warner is one of the quietest, most unassuming young men I've ever met in my life. So if he argues a call, he really believes that
I'm probably the other quiet, unassuming. The Kapalua International. And the finals will be next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time on NBC. Vin Scully will be there to host it. Arlene Floyd will be there. I'm going to just kind of hang around at 16 and 17 and have a good time. Work on my tab. Greg, in reality, throwing that one away, and Kurt Warner, the intended receiver, maybe should have been a more definitive move and really have thrown it out of bounds because he could have got himself in trouble, but he didn't.
Keith Bostic on the coverage coming out. He had Kurt Warner man-to-man, and Craig had no choice but to throw it out. John L. Williams, we talked about the blocking ability. Let's see what he does on this play. Oh, yeah, nice
good.
block. The linebacker coming inside. It looked like Seals. Was it number 53?
Yes. it is second down and 20. Incomplete, and he goes to Ray Butler. Meanwhile, Steve Largent, there's a flag down back at the 12, and also Steve Largent does not have a reception with 8:44 left to go in the third quarter. Patrick Allen defensively for the Houston Oilers. And there is Largent, headed towards the Hall of Fame. And 11 years ago today was the last time he did not have a catch.
Decline, third down.
And that was in a ball game against the Jets. That is the third holding call. Offensive holding against the Seahawks. This one refused. Largent, the best ever. Most receptions, 779. Most yarded. Most seasons, 1,000+ yards. Most consecutive games. That's 160. I believe that should be 162.
Yes, it is.
Don't anticipate that 163 yet. Third down. Complete at the 45. It'll be a first down. Scansey, remember, when he was stretched out on the first half, goes up and pulls this one down. Needed 20. He got 21.
And you got to like it about it coming back. A tough play. Scansey is a third down specialist. 44 of his 83 career receptions have been on third down and getting the first down. Tough call, too, because he's got to go up in the air. And notice how quickly he gets his arms down because he knows that's the soft spot, the injured area that he was banged up about earlier in the game. Nice play by Scansey.
And the previous injury, you know, it's a bruise and it hurts and it was a wind knocked out of him. But he's back in there. 45-yard line, first down. Largent coming in motion. Warner sweep far side.
Warner on the sweep left. Johnny Meade made the stop.
Now we'll mark it 48-yard line. These are all of the scores. Early game, Chicago winning. Kansas City with the upset of the day so far. New England by 1 over the Jets. Indianapolis wins and Philadelphia wins. Pittsburgh played well though, 27-26. San Diego, they needed a win. Two things were tough there. By 3 over Atlanta and Tampa Bay by 3 over Detroit. Those 4 teams that are, all of them actually are struggling. Raiders and San Francisco with Los Angeles 3 up in the third. We'll come back to the other scores. Got away with one. Should have been intercepted. Are they going to hold up the interception? They may say that he got it. Going into coverage, there was a flag down back at the 40-yard line.
He tried to sneak it into the zone, Charlie, and you're right. He had a linebacker on one side, a defensive back on the other, and he was lucky to get away with it.
And it's going to be a penalty against Seattle.
Holding Seattle.
Going to be an illegal use of the hands.
And if my addition is correct, that's the third holding penalty in this drive.
The pass has been ruled incomplete.
Yeah, the pass was incomplete. But almost intercepted, and he forced it. And that may be the first bad mistake that Craig has made.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 70 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
That's on Ron Mattis.
And Ron Mattis had a difficult game a week ago going against Bruce Smith from Buffalo, allowing 2 sacks. And also charged with a chop block a week ago. It's been tough. That Seattle offensive line has not had a good season.
Denver a blowout at home against Cleveland. And Phoenix by 7 over the Giants. Of course, with Kansas City upsetting Cincinnati, in the Central Division, Cincinnati's record is 8-3. Houston with a victory here would be tied for the lead, 8-3. Cleveland with a loss would drop to 6-5. Seattle, the Raiders, and Denver are all tied in the West at 5-5. Denver on their way to a victory would be 6-5. The Raiders leading but just by a little would be 6-5. And Seattle right now is trailing by 7. And it is second down. Second and 17 at the 38. Blades, the intended receiver, but excellent coverage by Steve Brown, and Blades had to try and reach around and knock it away, and another flag dropped to the 27-yard line. And And the reaction of the players, now that Fisher puts the flag in his pocket, the players' reaction was that it was on Seattle again.
Illegal use of the hands to the face on the offense. Number 65, 10-yard penalty. Repeat it down. Second down.
So the offensive line of Seattle having a multitude of problems.
Is self-destructing. That's the fourth major foul on the Seahawks during this drive. That was illegal use of the hand to the face. You can use your hands to extend if you're an offensive lineman to block, but you can't get around that face mask.
It'll be 2nd and 27 at the 27.
2nd and 27.
Yardage, the Oilers 34, the Seahawks 45. That's kind of a turnaround from what it normally is.
That's a good day for Houston.
Yeah. Largent has his reception, has the ball. He'll pick up 30 yards.
This ball is underthrown, and Largent is actually well covered. He's right along the numbers, second man in. But watch him. This is the experience. It's underthrown. He comes back. He's actually very well covered by number 23, Richard Johnson.
And a first down at the Houston 42. John L. Williams to the 30. John L. Williams.
This team mad. The much maligned offensive line of the Seahawks blocking well up front. Tice, number 86, the block. Mattis, number 70. Bailey, 65, helps out. The rest is all John L. Williams running over Donaldson, number 31. Bostic, number 25, finally on the tackle.
He picks up 21. First down at the 22-yard line. Largent in motion. John L. to the 18, maybe the 17. Mark at the 18-yard line. Gain of 4. Second down and 6. So Steve Largent went the entire first half without a reception, and then in the third quarter, with 6.5 minutes remaining, he caught it. So he waited a long time to get that reception.
So the streak will not end 11 years to the day after it started.
Jeff Hines, our producer, found that. Everybody kept saying, hey, why don't you wait? Why don't you save it? 11 years. Warner to the 13. A gain of 5. It's going to be third down and still about a yard to go for the first down.
And much of Seattle's success running the football on this drive has gone right back over the center. Have you noticed that? Richard Byrd, number 71 for Houston, is replacing Doug Smith, who's out with that 30-day suspension. I wonder if they're not trying to go back to the middle because Byrd has not played as much as he has in the past. Let's keep an eye on him to see if that's true.
Third down and 1 at the 13-yard line. Houston 17, Seattle 10. Warner behind Williams, and I don't think he made it. Craig running almost to the, not to the far sideline, but within 10 yards of it over there to get a note. We'd like to welcome those of you that have been watching the Cleveland-Denver game here in the Kingdome. As you know, in the third quarter, Denver 30 and Cleveland nothing. Here in the Kingdome, 3:53 left to go in the third. Houston 17 and Seattle 10. And for an update just a moment ago, it was 2nd and 27 for the Seattle Seahawks at their own 27-yard line. And then a 30-yard pass to Steve Largent, a couple of long runs. It's fourth down and 1 at the 13-yard line. Craig, third play. penalty will be against the Houston Oilers. I didn't see exactly who was chasing. Was it Bostic? And rather than try and tackle him, he was just trying to slug him, and they nailed him for it. And they'll tag it on to the end of the run.
Craig, coming back after the injury, has had the shoulder problem. He makes the correct move. It's a nice play-action fake. Remember, Houston is a very overly aggressive team. Runs right past the linebacker. Now, he just wants to get out of bounds because of the injury. He wants to play it safe. He knows he has the first down. But watch the hook, the right cross. Now, see, he's going up high. He's going up to the shoulder, up toward the head. And that stuff does not belong in professional football.
Would you call that a cheap shot?
That is... Charlie, in my book, it's a cheap shot.
I agree with you.
That's just a swing. It's a slug.
Yeah, it doesn't belong. It'll be first down and goal to go at the 5-yard line. Rightly or wrongly, the Oilers have that reputation, and it's going to precede them every time they play. For a couple inside, and again, you're right. The running game, they're going right at Richard Byrd.
Now, Richard Byrd, normally a defensive end, he has moved inside because of the drug suspension. Doug Smith, and it seems lately the success that they've had. Let's take a look at it. Bush, number 59, the center for Seattle. Tough to tell what Byrd is in that mess because he's flat on his back.
There's Richard Byrd. Second down goal to go, 3-yard line. Warner. Has it. Flags in the end zone. And Millard with the key block. He just took out Steve Brown.
The offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
That's an unsportsmanlike on Millard, who laid that stop for the block. Are they calling the planned celebration in the end zone?
There's a look at Bush, number 59 in the middle. Now, let's try to pick up Millard. He's number 71 coming around the corner. He makes a nice block on Brown. There it is. Is it too good of a block? Well, there's no flag there. That's perfectly fine.
It's for what he does now. And I don't know if we have what he does at that point. Here's Norm Johnson looking here. Extra point attempt, and he's good. And the ball game is tied at 17-17. We've got a timeout, 2:48 left to go in the third. We'll be back with the kickoff.
Today's game is brought to you by Honda, who invites you to test drive the Accord LX 4-door sedan at your local Honda dealership today. By the good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by USF&G Insurance. USF&G covers the USA.
Norm Johnson to kick off, and Leonard Harris is the deep back on the return. He's kicking from the 30-yard line because of the 5-yard unsportsmanlike penalty on Millard. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll see if we have it on tape. Oh, he sails this one to the goal line. Up to the 10. Now the 11. Excellent cover. Rufus Porter. We'll be back to the Kingdom in a moment.
Shrouded.
Let's go back to the penalty following the touchdown.
And after Kurt Warner gets into the end zone, Brian Millard, number 71, who made a great block on the corner, takes the football and has a good time. The lineman's dream, the great spike, but watch the official.
Gary Lane.
Gary Lane throw the flag out, and Craig tried to talk him out of it.
He went right for it, though, didn't he? The drive of Seattle started at zone 34, so it was a 66-yard drive. He had a 30 yards in penalty, plus one that was reviewed. Used at 5 yards and went 91 yards. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it was a great snap. Flag is down. Highsmith, the ball carrier, Bryant with the tackle, and now flag. Crowd back into it here. Illegal motion against Houston. It'll go back to the 6-yard line.
Illegal motion, offense, number 85. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
Call on Drew Hill.
Charlie, that play on the kickoff team, Rufus Porter, number 97, the 4th blue shirt from the left side of your screen. He has replaced Fred Young for the Seattle Seahawks as their top performer. Watch him break right through the wedge, break right through, make the tackle on the return right before he has a chance to get started.
Peek at the ball carrier. 14-yard line. So he picks up 8. It'll be 2nd down and 7. It was 1st and 15. Jeff Bryant with the tackle. 2 minutes left to go, 3rd quarter, and we are tied at 17-17. So Pickett and Highsmith are the running backs. Rozier has a bruised finger. Can return, has returned since he bruised it. Can't play. May still be bothering with the grip of the football. Pickett across the 20 to the 21. And they may mark at the 20-yard line. And it's going to be shy of the first down. So it's going to be 3rd down and around a yard to go for the first down. The Boz with the stop.
And Pickett has gotten a lot tougher since he came out of Notre Dame. That was one of the reasons why he's carrying the ball more as we take a look at the late scores.
Chris Bryant with 2 field goals. New Orleans 14-3 over the Rams. Things are good. Then with Cleveland now 30-7. Cleveland has scored. Phoenix 14 to Giants 7. And here we're tied 17-17. Pickett first down. 32-yard line. 3rd down and 1. He picks up 12 in the first down and was a step away from about a 40-yard gain.
Brian Bosworth has been quiet since his return. Today is his first start in the last 3 weeks because of that minor shoulder surgery that he's had. Awfully quiet. 55 millimeter screen. Let's see what happens to him. I believe he missed the tackle blocked by a lineman out in front. That's Bruce Matthews, number 74, allowing Pickett to slip by him. The middle linebacker's got to make the play on those short yardage situations. The defensive line give themselves up so people like Bosworth can step up and make it.
They mark it to the 33, first down. Gibbons in motion. Here's the draw. Alonzo Highsmith, 43-yard line. He'll pick up 10. Should pick up the first down. So with the ball game tied 17-17, Aspen and what is tied 10-10. Houston comes back just to power their way. Vernon Dean with the tackle. The guns down at the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Houston 17, Seattle 17. Back after these messages from your local station.
Yards rushing, the big advantage on Houston. That's what we expected coming in. The Oilers perhaps were the strongest rushing team in football. But despite the fact of that great disparity in total yardage, the Seahawks have this game all tied up.
Time of possession is close. Houston at their own 43, first down. We start the 4th quarter. Traffic and a great reception and a first down at the 37-yard line as Drew Hill pulls it in. Moyer and Jenkins hit him immediately.
This is a tough throw for Warren Moon. It's the zone coverage, and he's got to throw it over the top of the defensive backs in front to try to get it to Drew Hill. Take a look at it. Defensive backs in front. Jenkins, number 24, behind. He's got to fit it right over the inside linebacker and in between the defensive back on top. Hill took quite a spill last week with a head and a shoulder injury. He's come back tough today with 4 catches for nearly 100 yards.
And the last was good for 23. First down at the Seattle 36-yard line. Gibbons in motion. Gibbons, when he gets it, it's like he carries on conversations when he gets outside. Pinkett, flag is down.
And for the very reason for what you said, they just got penalized. What he's doing, he's hearing an audible as he goes across the line of scrimmage. He's stopping and helping by giving instructions to the receivers over there.
He's carrying the audible with him?
Right, but as he was carrying it with him, He was turning, and the receivers were adjusting themselves, and that's the reason for the motion penalty.
Can they turn and ask you a question? Say, would you say it again? Or something? Does that happen?
Hey, that happens often enough. I didn't hear it.
Illegal motion, offense, number 81.
That's the call.
5-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
He's also using a hand signal as he goes across. Because this crowd is so loud, different teams have done different things when coming here to play in this dome. Sometimes they've piped in music and crowd noise for their home practice facility. And more often than not, they've done what the Oilers are doing, trying to use hand signals when they're trying to audible.
Make a note, at 13:53, the first wave started and did not gain a lot of momentum, I must say. Orman. Pass is complete. And Gibbons is out of bounds. And there's a flag down at the 36. Robinson was there. And it's going to be a face mask call. I predict overtime. I want to go on record that this game will be in overtime.
Not such a tough call when the score is tied in the fourth quarter.
No, listen to this. What was the score at the end of the first quarter?
7-0.
And at half?
10-0.
And at the third?
5-yard penalty.
Is there a trend?
That was a relatively inadvertent face mask penalty called on Eugene Robinson, number 41. Take a look at it. He's just trying to get any piece he can. There's a difference between this play and the play by Bostic on the other side. The difference being that Gibbons was 2 or 3 yards inbounds at the time. He was going to try to get any piece of the body to try to make the tackle. The other play, because it is similar, that's why I want to mention this, Bostic had no way of making the tackle because Craig was already right on the sideline.
So it is first down, as you can see, about 4 yards to go. Following the penalty, here's the draw, Highsmith. And Houston figure the first down at the 24-yard line. So add 6 more to the totals. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the Houston Oilers, the Seattle Seahawks, all rights reserved. And we have an injury timeout. And that is Paul Moyer, who has that key interception in the end zone. And while they're administering to him, we'll take a timeout and be back in just a moment. Campbell spoke. We are the greatest team in the National Football League, except when Charlie Jones calls the game.
What's the record with you calling the game?
Since he's been head coach of Houston, they're 0-5. Boone's pass is complete, 21-yard line. It'll be a gain of 3, second down and 7. Do you think 0-5? I mean, do you think he really has a complaint?
Well, yesterday we were on the field. He said to me, "Hey, if we won a football game since you've been there," and I lied. I said, "Yes."
Flags are down. And the preliminary signal is another face mask. I don't think 0-5 is enough to. Yes, but he didn't. You did notice he didn't want to talk to me yesterday. He said you could come over and talk to him.
Yeah, but he was smiling.
He thought you were 1-4. Doesn't he realize how can we work together? How could I be 0-5 and you be 1-4? You're figuring this out. You're reading the lips of the officials. You're working on the penalty.
Well, he doesn't know the
he was laughing. Jerry
was having a good time.
He was having a good time. Oh yeah. No, we talked on the phone earlier this week, and he was kidding me about it. And while the conference goes on, they're reviewing it upstairs. That's the reason. Tonight, it's Mickey's 60th birthday special. But where's the mouse? Roger Rabbit, Goofy, and stars from NBC shows join in the hunt on the magical world of Disney, followed by Family Ties, and you'll see more of Michael J. Fox in the network television premiere of Back to the Future. That's all tonight here on NBC.
Now, Drew Hill made a sliding catch on that play for a gain of just a couple of yards. A flag was thrown, then picked back up, and it's still on the ground. Excuse me. Now the officials are huddling, taking a cue from the replay official, we assume.
We've been told the replay officials are not reviewing it. I wonder if they know. On the field, they're not reviewing.
Let's take a look at the play. The rollout by Moon seems like a a clear-cut play. He apparently from that play gets the catch. Makes the catch.
Bosworth goes in and downs him.
Well, there's the ball, but the ball, he's down at this point, but the ball, there was a reception there, even though it seemed to be sticking out
for
the
3
side.
yards. And we understand the report that we have is the replay officials are not reviewing it. Now, they talk to the umpire. That's number 89. Here's the call. Now, we'll all know.
Incidental face mask, defense, number 24. It will be a 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. We will repeat the down, first down.
Incidental face mask, as you heard on Melvin Jenkins.
And, of course, they were discussing the situation, but the replay official cannot look for a face mask call because a penalty does not come under the preview of the replay official.
So as they repeat the down, it then becomes first down with 2 yards to go. Given the motion. And now Houston's at the 16-yard line. And here's Pinkett inside to the 10. So he picks up the first down after a gain of 6. We have 12 and a half minutes left to go in the ball game. We're tied 17-17. Joe Nash makes the tackle. The other ball games, the other late ball games, Raiders continue to lead the 49ers by a field goal, 2 field goals to 1 field goal. New Orleans 4 up on the Rams, 14-10. Denver still big over Cleveland, and Phoenix have played well this year. They continue to lead the Giants by 7, 14-7. Here's 17-17. Touchdown. And so Houston once again has the lead. Officially, it will be for 11 yards.
And that's the second time today that option play worked. The first time, Moon went around the corner, pitched it to Pinkett. They get the touchdown. This time he keeps it and goes into the end zone himself.
That was an 89-yard drive. Remember the kickoff following the 5-yard penalty on Millard? And the return and the good coverage by Seattle at the 11. 89 yards on the drive.
Hitters going down the line because the pitch was successful the last time. That's number 31, Vernon Dean, taking the pitch man and leaves it wide open to the corner. Bottom of your screen. Looked like it was Curtis Duncan, number 80, making a good block on the corner.
And the extra point is good. And so now, Houston 24, Seattle 17.
Today's game is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Mazda Cars and Trucks, including the all-new Mazda MPV. And by Radio Shack, the technology store.
Welcome back to Dave Craig. Seattle fans think the drought is over. Go Hawks. Well, we'll find out. Because Seattle has answered Houston throughout the game. Houston was up 7-0, then tied 7-7. Houston up 10-7, tied 10-10. Houston up 17-10, then tied 17-17. Now they lead 24-17. Here's Bobby Joe. Edmonds from the 3-yard line to the 10, 15, 20. Returns to the 29-yard line, maybe the 30. Alan Pinkett made the tackle. There's a scoring drive of 89 yards in 10 plays. Houston with an 89-yard drive, a 73-yard drive, and a 90-yard drive. Oh, that's impressive. That isn't. They have done that themselves. They've had a couple of other opportunities, and they had turnovers. They didn't capitalize, but there are 3 touchdown drives they did themselves. Largent in motion from the 29, play action fake. Lots of time. Everybody's covered. Drops it off to John L., who immediately drops the ball. And it'll be second down and 10.
In talking about the problem of trying to protect quarterbacks, some coaches and some players around the league feel the way to protect a quarterback, and Craig out for 7 weeks with that shoulder injury, one of the ways to do it is to throw on first down, as Craig just did. That way you keep a defense off balance. They're not able to send all the linebackers and have the defensive linemen just go ahead and worry about the pass rush. They're concerned about the run. And I like that idea, Charlie. As a receiver, I like it. The defenses are not set up for a pass play. And Seattle seems to have been successful with it today.
Kurt Warner, a good spin move to the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5. And talking about the protection of your quarterback, Brian Millard's quote, number 1, we have to get the running game going. Number 2, we have to protect Dave. That's Craig, of course. We can't let him get hit. That's paramount.
And Brian Millard, ironically, he would say that because this is his first game back after missing the last 2 with a pulled rib. So Millard and Craig, 2 important cogs in this offensive team, are finally back for the Seahawks, and they are playing better today offensively.
3rd down and 5. So Scansey in motion. The pass to the 45-yard line is complete to Ray Butler. 1st down, Seattle.
Ray Butler also having a good game today. He missed several games because of a broken foot he suffered against Atlanta. He's lost his starting job to Brian Blades, but this afternoon a big play on the part of Ray Butler. The slant coming across the middle. A nice throw by Craig. Now the Oilers tried to say the ball was slipped down to the ground, but from that angle it was inconclusive. It looked like Butler did just have enough of the football to get the catch. 3 catches for 41. His biggest day so far of the year.
Seattle, by the way, has had touchdown drives of 75 and 66 yards. Looking for the reverse of the flea flicker yet. And the man deep is covered and has to come back in underneath. Excellent coverage for the secondary of Houston. Had to come back to Tice. Blades picked up double coverage at the 35-yard line. He had an escort all the way.
Now, this is the second trick play we've seen by Seattle today. Remember, they tried the reverse pass earlier in the contest. This time they try the flea flicker. The reason being is because Houston over-pursues. Look at the linebackers coming down the line. But what they didn't realize was this time Houston's secondary stayed at home. They didn't go for the fake. They didn't go for it on the reverse pass earlier. And Craig makes a nice play by realizing that, going underneath to Tice, the tight end, and he salvages a play.
9 yards. It's 2nd down and 1.
See, it's well set up, but Craig, again, making the correct decision to go underneath. Because if not, usually that play is intercepted, or he's simply going to throw it away.
But at the secondary of the Oilers, here's Kurt Warner for the 1st down, just inside the 45 to the 44. The Raiders have another field goal, and it's now a 9-3 ball game in the 4th. Saints still lead the Rams by 4, 14-10. They're battling it out. Denver still big over Cleveland. Phoenix has added another touchdown, and they lead the Giants 21-7.
Getting back to those trick plays, you only use trick plays against the defense that's overly aggressive. They don't work against the team that just sits there and plays catch.
What are they doing now?
Right. Well, you know, there's a bend and break defense, and then there's the upfield aggressive one, and Houston is certainly in the lighter case there.
John Williams moves to the outside.
Schiller's number 79 getting blocked up on Mike Wilson, 75. That's what allowed the cutback. That's how Williams sprung into the secondary. But then it's mostly all him outrunning a lot of people down the sideline. Williams has got more speed for a big man than most people give him credit for.
He pulled away from Donaldson.
But give the credit there to Mike Wilson, a former Cincinnati Bengal, with a big block on Ray Childress, who's having an all-pro year.
And the extra point is good. And again, we are tied, 24-24.
Have you ever wondered what a baggage handler might take on vacation? What everyone should say. Samsonite's glutton for punishment.
Welcome back to the Kingdom, where we are once again tied. This time it's 24-24. I'm Charlie Jones, Jimmy Seflo. It's like a heavyweight championship fight. Punch, counter punch.
Yeah, it really is. Seattle has come back with a sparkling offense thanks to Dave Craig. Talking to Dave Largent yesterday, he said he didn't realize how much he would have missed Dave Craig. Today he's got him back.
And a flag down on the return. And it's going to be a holding call against the Houston Oilers. But in all honesty, these kind of penalties haven't seemed to deter either Houston or Seattle from their long drives.
Normally, that's what penalties will do. Take you out of the long drive.
That last drive
Offense, number 33, 10-yard penalty, first down.
from Spencer Tillman. But the last touchdown drive is 71 yards in 6 plays for Seattle.
In fact, as you've documented earlier in this quarter, all the drives have been long ones today.
So Houston from their own 16-yard line. 8:07 left. Plenty of time. It is complete. With the coverage, and the crowd into this so much, it was an audible call, and so they had a bit of a problem, everybody adjusting and hearing it.
Yeah, zone coverage. Look at the big hole for Drew Hill coming inside on it. But Warren Moon makes the decision at the line of scrimmage to audible, even though the crowd was so loud. And that's where they got caught before, if you remember, Charlie, with Ernest Givens trying to give a hand signal outside to Drew Hill. That time they made it good, and it was a correct call by Warren Moon. He gambled by audibling despite the crowd noise.
But did you notice Highsmith moving up to try and hear it because he had not heard it? 18 yards on the play. Moon all the time in the world, and it is incomplete. Given the intended receiver, Woods was there for the defense. It'll be second down and 10. Houston at their own 34-yard line.
I don't think this is the time for Houston to get away from the successful running game. There's 7:16 left in the fourth quarter. The way they've been churning yardage out against the Seattle defense, it's a perfect time to try to put together another long drive. Get the first 2 plays of this drive after pass play.
Now it is second down and 10. I was going to say for the draw there in the shotgun, there's the rushing yardage comparison. You can run a draw from the shotgun. It is complete at the 50-yard line, a diving reception. And once again, it is Drew Hill who is having a great game.
It looks like a duplicate call, Charlie, too.
Yeah.
Down and in by Drew Hill. He's been making the play all day, and he's also been scooping the ball off the turf all day long. That's because Warren Moon's got to throw it around this zone defense. 55 Bosworth, you see him. He's trying to find the receiver, but Hill has enough presence of mind to sneak around him. And it looks like a good catch from our angle. This crowd doesn't seem to agree, but from that angle, it looks like a good catch.
Drew Hill over the 100-yard mark. He's got 18 in his career. And we're going to have a review. Jack Fetty is the replay official.
Did you think he scooped that ball up?
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I was making a note and I didn't see the replay.
All right, well, let's if we can't
Did you
take a
see
look.
it?
Yeah, I thought he scooped it up.
Oh, okay. I just didn't see it. You know me. I'll agree or disagree.
That's a catch
That's
to
the
me.
catch from there. That's the catch. Is that the only angle we got?
After further review, play stands as called.
Here's the angle. That's the catch.
He gets his left arm underneath.
That's a good catch, yeah. And a good call.
But the reason that a lot of those balls have been caught by Hill that way is because Moon has got to throw it around those linebackers, and he's finding the open area. He's relying on Hill to get down on the ground and make the catch.
50-yard line, first down. 6.5 minutes left. Pickett, couple of yards. Second down and 8.
Brian Bosworth may be a little frustrated. First game back.
They're going to the head.
Take a 55 going inside. He's getting pushed downfield by Matthews, and he is going to the
head.
face.
Yeah, that's what. Well, and Bosworth goes back to the face too, and he's got his jersey. Oh yeah, it's a standoff. Second and 8. seconds on the clock. Pass is complete, far side. And Drew Hill, who's really getting a workout, as is Warren Moon.
I like the guts of Warren Moon. A lot of quarterbacks will come into this dome in a crucial drive like this and say, hey, guys, it's just too loud to try and change the play at the line of scrimmage. He hasn't backed off of it one time.
Here are the scores. The Raiders leading San Francisco 9-3. Saints 14-10 over the Rams. Denver big over Cleveland. And Phoenix leading the Giants now by 7, 21-14. Here we're tied, 24-24. Third down and 2. Nice looking at Vernon Dean.
Vernon Dean, number 31, right part of your screen. He's coming right now. He would have been coming whether or not it was a run player or not. An 85 Drew Hill's got to get inside to make that block. That's part of the receiver's job. Unable to do so, and Dean with the tackle.
Greg Montgomery kicking. Bobby Joe Edmonds, the return man. Pressure, he gets it away. Edmonds stays away, and it goes into the end zone for the touchback. Will bring it out to the 20-yard line. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. Ball game tied 24-24. Jones, Jimmy Cephalo, 4:50 time remaining, and a ball game that is tied once again. Tied at 7-all, tied at 10-all, tied at 17-17, now tied at 24-24. Seattle from their own 20-yard line, first down. Kurt Warner. 23-yard line, second down and 7. Now 4 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. You want to use up the clock. You want to play a short field. And by that I mean 10, 20, 45, 55, 40 to 55 yards. You set up a field goal attempt as time runs out.
Well, Seattle can do anything they want. They've got 3 timeouts remaining, 4:24 left in the contest. They had not had any success with the running game until that last couple of drives. Then they started to get some success, so maybe they want to go back to it and try to take as much time off the clock as they can while trying to score.
Hill is passing formation.
Well, not, second and 7, you got to throw the football.
Larger to Fiddler. Patrick Allen brings him down after a gain of 16.
This is zone coverage, Charlie, on the part of the Houston Oilers. They're sitting back there in the zone. Take a look at it. Largent coming underneath. Brown, number 24, has got to scoot out to get him because that's his zone. That was really not a man-to-man coverage, but Largent with a nice spin move inside. He doesn't have to go out of bounds because, as he knows, the smart receiver, he's got 4 minutes left in the contest, plus he's got 2 timeouts remaining.
Now the clock down to 3:23. We'll have a flag. Meanwhile, John L. Williams picks up 9. The Oilers are offside. And I'm sure it will be refused. And it'll be second down and 1 at the Seattle 48-yard line.
And where has the success of the running game of Seattle been? Right up the middle, going against Richard Byrd, who is replacing Doug
Offside
Smith.
defense, number 96. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Sean Jones.
And it may
He's
not,
a good ball player. He's really
John
a good
Jones
ball player.
really is, and the trade from the Raiders coming over. It may not be blaming Richard Byrd. The fact is, Richard Byrd used to sub a lot for Doug Smith. Now there really isn't a backup to go into the football game. Late in the contest, perhaps that's the reason why Seattle is beginning to pound away at that minute.
Second and 1. Here's Warner. First down. 48-yard line of Houston. 4 yards. He did what he wanted to do, and that is pick up the first down and just keep the clock moving. Have to run another play before the 2-minute warning. Now, Houston may take a timeout before the 2-minute warning.
Charlie, I don't think they will, only because...
Oh, that's right. No, they won't have to.
They're not into the territory where a score is imminent. I think as a defensive team, you only take those timeouts when it's an imminent score on the part of your opponent.
Or you wanted to stop it because they have to go ahead and run it if they couldn't run a play. Because they have to run a play, and you don't want to take it. That's Warner, Craig faking the bootleg that he was successful with earlier. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to go in the Kingdom. We are tied 24-24. Seattle has the ball at the Houston 43 when we come back. Number 9 is Norm Johnson. His long this season 47 yards. He is hit from 40 yards here. Largent is now the holder. And the snapper is Blair Bush if it gets to that point. But first things first. Second and 5 at the 43 of Houston. John L. stretches out to the 41. So add a couple of yards to his total. He has, what, 95 yards? 96 yards rushing. And it's third down and 3. There have been only 5 overtimes this season. Houston was involved in one of them, and I say only 5, and you would think there'd be more.
Well, I'm surprised here in this situation that Seattle didn't take a timeout. With a minute 30 left, 3 timeouts remaining. This is the most important play of the game, third and 3. I thought they should have huddled to make their best call they possibly can.
Greg? William, first down. They already had their best call.
They sure did, because it worked.
Following our football coverage, we'll be presenting the Magical World of Disney program in its entirety, except for Mountain and Pacific stations where the program will be seen at its regular time. So that little program update for you, followed by Family Ties, and then Back to the Future. And Jimmy, you're ready to talk, I can tell. You're leaning out. Right?
Now if you're used to it, you start thinking about using some of your 3 timeouts. The score is getting close to imminent. It would be a 52-yard field goal from this point. They've got to start thinking about using timeouts.
Tight end, Kurt Warner, 33-yard line. Second down and 8. And of course they want to run the clock all the way down. Kick at the last moment. If it's good, they win. And if they miss, then we're into overtime.
But they need to pick up another 10 yards. Seattle does to make this kick more palatable for Johnson. Right now it's, talking 51 yards, 50 yards?
He'd like to take the snap 7.5 yards, almost 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. John L. 28-yard line. Now it's a 45 or 46-yard kick. His longest again this year is 47. John L. Williams just going over 100 yards rushing. There it is, 102. They're going to let it count down maybe to 4 seconds and then take the field goal attempt. Stop it. They're standing by the referee going to stop it with a timeout. There it is with 4 seconds.
Charlie, with 3 timeouts remaining.
Houston let them get away with something here. Now explain it to me.
Well, Seattle, with 3 timeouts remaining, could have run a play, call a timeout, run a play, call a timeout.
Buzzards Gulch was drier than...
Meanwhile, back at this ranch...
Please return the 30-second clock to 5 seconds. Please.
They're going to reset the clock to 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Norm Johnson has hit 8 of 10 in the 40 to 50-yard range. He has hit 14 of 18 coming into this game, so he's now 15 of 19 on the year. And this is for the win. And a record of 6-5.
Please.
With Denver winning and the Raiders winning.
On the 30-second clock.
It looks as if we will hold that tie in the West. And now they're waiting still to reset the game clock to 5 seconds. And it is still, had not been reset. There it is.
The 30-second clock
Oh, the 30-second
should
clock.
read 5 seconds.
We want to set the 30-second clock to 5 seconds. The 30-second clock to 5 seconds. I'm not sure exactly why when there's 4 seconds on the game clock, but I guess we should have everything in order.
Yeah, just to get it all right.
To get it all right, yeah.
I'm still wondering why. I mean,
Please return game
8
clock
of 10
to 5
between
seconds.
40 and
Thank
50
you.
yards.
Now he said game clock to 5 seconds. Go ahead.
Between 8 out of 10 for
Thank
Johnson
you.
between 40 and 50 yards is an incredible record. But if I had my druthers, I would have run a play and used some of my timeouts to get it a few yards shorter for him.
Now the key here starts with number 59, Blair Bush. Norm Johnson said he's automatic. He puts it right on the money time after time after time. The question is, Steve Largent is his new holder. The normal holder is Jeff Kemp. He has kicked very well. Although one carom from the upright came in with Largent holding.
Timeout.
45-yard attempt. And now Houston, as everything is in order, will now take a timeout. And this is simply to let him think it over for a few more seconds.
40-second timeout.
There is Jeff Kemp, who has been the regular holder. Now with the return of Craig, he was the number 2 quarterback. He's now the number 3 quarterback, carried on the 47-man roster, one of 2 inactive for this ball game, and they make that decision now in 15 minutes before game time.
Right. Seattle will remember, though, 1985, Jim Zorn was the holder for Johnson. When he was let go, Largent came in, Gail Gilbert came in, and Johnson had his problems. It is not automatic when you change holders for a kicker.
Meanwhile, on the report card, here's Craig, 14 of 26, 188 yards, a touchdown and interception. John L. Williams rushing for 102 yards. Butler, 3 receptions, 41 yards. And on the special teams, Norm Johnson 1 out of 1 field goal attempt to this point. Moon, 13 of 22, 182. Pinkett, 74 yards. Hill, 8 for 139. Zendejas had the field goal. Here it is. Remaining on the clock. We will have a kickoff.
The game has not concluded. There is 1 second left on the game clock.
That was the voice of the referee. There is 1 second remaining on the game clock. It is Seattle 27, Houston 24.
There will be a kickoff.
A 46-yard field goal. And a 27-24 lead for Seattle.
And that took all the guesswork out of it. Chuck Knox for not taking some time out.
So it takes
exactly. Norm Johnson had to be concerned because of the change of the holders. Kickers believe it high. Back into the
seven. It is now time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP, Norm Johnson, with the winning field goal. Here it is again, and Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in the NFL today. And remember to stay tuned to NBC tonight for a very special celebration, the magical world of Disney. Salute Mickey's 60th birthday in grand style. Then it's Michael J. Fox, a doubleheader, Family Ties. And then Back to the Future. That is all tonight on NBC, the network television premiere of Back to the Future. With Jimmy Cephalo, I'm Charlie Jones. It's been a good one here in the Kingdome. I'm glad that you could have been with us. The final score, Seattle 27, Houston 24. So long, everybody.